Gulf Screen Guild Theater. And your host, Roger Pryor. Hi, everybody. Your neighborhood good Gulf dealer and the Gulf Oil Companies welcome you to the Gulf Screen Guild Theater. More of your favorite stars tonight. Connie Boswell, Gary Cooper, who just flew in from New York, Bob Hope, who just flew in from the golf course, and Oscar Bradley, who just flew into a small rage with his Gulf Orchestra. And now, I have a bit of unexpected news for you. Marlene Dietrich, who was to be one of our stars this evening, will not be able to appear. Because of a very bad cold and a high temperature, production on her new picture, Destry Rides Again, has been stopped for the last 3 days. Nevertheless, Marlene insisted she was going to appear in the Gulf Theater until last night at rehearsal, when unfortunately she lost her voice completely. The minute word got round that Marlene couldn't be with us tonight, a lot of our biggest stars immediately offered to take her place. And you know, that's the kind of spirit that has created the Gulf Screen Guild Theater. The stars consider the Gulf Theater their theater because every single cent that Gulf would ordinarily give to the stars who appear here is given instead to meet the needs of the Motion Picture Relief Fund and to build a home for the members of the picture industry who can't take care of themselves anymore. And now I'm sure you're all as anxious as I am to know which of the glamorous stars is going to be here to pinch hit for Marlena. So let's ring up our curtain here in the Gulf Theater where one of the greatest singers of popular songs is ready to open the show with Oh, You Crazy Moon. Spotlight for Connie Boswell.
You crazy moon, what made you break my heart? When they met, the way they smiled, I saw that I was through. Oh, you crazy moon, what did you do? When they kissed, they tried to say that it was all in fun. Oh, you crazy moon, look what you've done. Once you promised me, you know, that it would never end. You should be ashamed to show your funny face, my friend. Now there they are, they fell in love. I guess you think you're smart. Oh, you crazy moon, you broke my heart. When they met, the way they smiled, I saw that I was through. Oh, you crazy moon, what did you do? Now when they kissed, they tried to say that it was just in fun. Oh, you crazy moon, look what you've done. Once you promised me, you know, that it would never end. You should be ashamed to show your funny face, my friend. Now there they are, they fell in love. I guess you think you're smart. Oh, you crazy moon, you broke my heart. Why'd you ever start? You crazy moon, what made you break my heart?
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we bring you a young comedian who took so many bows while they were putting his footprints in the lobby of Grauman's Chinese Theater that the cement hardened around his feet. They couldn't get the entire shoe loose, but they did free the heel, and here he is, Bob Hope.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Roger, but this is a Gulf Theater. There should be no knocks. Get it? Gulf, no knocks. I didn't write it. But before you go, I want you to know that you've got that story all wrong. I stood in the cement like anybody else does, and I didn't bow at all.
Oh, you didn't? Well, then how'd you get that cement on your nose?
Oh, it was on account of all my fans. You know how they are, so eager to get near a star they love. They thrilled just to touch me. I bent down to write my name in the cement, and one of them stepped on my head. Sort of a love pat, but I'm awfully happy to be here. I like the idea of being on another show besides my own. After all, why should I lay all my eggs in one basket? But isn't radio a wonderful thing? I just bought one of those new portable radios. You know, the kinds you carry around. No aerial, no ground, nothing to worry about except the finance company. This summer, I went to my uncle's farm on my vacation. I took one of those new portable radios. My uncle took it out to the barn with him and tuned in Jimmy Fiddler. Next morning, when he milked the cow, it said moo, and I do mean moo. And you ought to see my uncle's farm, 100 miles from anywhere. Why, you can travel 50 miles there without even seeing a good humor man. And what health. I used to get up every morning at the crack of my back. But I'm glad to be back here at work. I had a nice trip coming back. I got a free ride all the way. All I had to do was help them unload. I really had a nice compartment till they put the ice in. I came in on that new streamlined train, the Super Chief. Boy, what a stream. When you buy your tickets, you have to stand like that. Everything's slant. Everything's slant. You can't even get a cinder in your eye unless you're a Chinaman. Oh, but I waited. Well, it really is modernistic. When I got off, I looked like a Pontiac radiator cap. It was folded. I couldn't read it. And what speed. It was a nice trip, but I was wearing my sack suit, and they kept throwing me off with the mail. You know, as the streamliner pulls into Hollywood, it passes right by Bing Crosby's new racing stable. And every time the streamliner passes, Bing lines his horses up and says, "See, that's what I mean." I shouldn't talk, because Bing has some nice horses, though. He's having a little trouble with his jockeys right now. They want to be paid by the hour. But outside... But he compromised with him. He's giving him a saddle that makes up into a lower berth. He gave me a tip. He gave me a tip on a horse. He called me at Del Mar one day last summer and said, "I got a little dope for you in the next race." A little dope. A little dope. I wish he'd given it to the horse. That's the first horse I've ever seen start from a kneeling position. He came up to the post. He looked the horse alongside him and said, "Have you ever run this track before?" The horse said, "Sure, lots of times." He said, "Okay, I'll follow you." And he did. He got around the halfway mark, and the jockey said, "Come on, let it out." So the horse stopped and took off his girdle. He finished so far behind, he had his tail in the photo finish. I know. I don't get it myself. But, but I want to tell you, I met one nice girl on the train coming back from my vacation. She was a bathing beauty from Los Angeles. Miss Southeast corner of Hollywood and Vine. You should have seen her when the train pulled into the station. She was awfully excited about getting back to California. She rubbed suntan cream on her face, poured oil over her arms, and put on dark glasses. Then she pulled out the cutest parasol you've ever seen, stepped off the train, and drowned. But, Roger, it could happen to anybody. But, Roger, you should visit me at my uncle's farm sometime.
Well, I'll be glad to visit you, Bob. I'll fly my airplane down. You know, like I was telling you before the show,
Yeah, I know. You've taken up flying. Say, Roger, who is the glamour girl who's going to be on the show tonight?
I don't know, Bob.
I bet it's Ann Sherry.
I hope so. Did I tell you about the time I hit an altitude of 5,000 feet?
You know, I've always liked her.
Oh, it was a thrill, Bob. I came out of a loop hitting a speed of 250 miles an hour. And then I took her into a dive.
She didn't go with you, did she?
Well, of course. Well, of course she did.
That's funny. She wouldn't go with me.
Who?
I don't know. Who are you running around with now? Look, Roger, I can't stand the suspense any longer. Is this mysterious glamour girl really going to be here to take Marlene to Dietrich's place?
Yeah, sure.
Well, for goodness sakes, introduce Marlene and let's see what happens.
Well, that's a good idea, Bob. Let's try it. Ladies and gentlemen, we bring you one of Hollywood's most glamorous personalities. You've always seen her against the exotic background of far-off places, but you'll soon be seeing her in a picture of the wild and woolly West. Here's the star who, for the first time, is bringing glamour to the range, Marlene Dietrich.
Oh, dear. I hope I'm doing the right thing.
It's Kazoo Pitts.
Kazoo!
welcome to the Gulf Screen Guild Theater. Zazu, it was nice of you to come.
Thank you. I came over as soon as I could.
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight, Daisy. Did you come here to take Marlena Dietrich's place?
Only in spirit. Oh, dear. I never should have allowed myself to be talked into believing I'm a glamour girl.
Well, who talked you into it?
I did. Oh, I think I better go home. This is a dreadful mistake.
Oh, no, Zazu. I can't think of anyone better to substitute for Marlena Dietrich tonight. You have glamour. You're really beautiful, Zazu. Your eyes, your hair, your lips.
Oh, tell me more. But this time, look at me.
You know... You know how bashful I am, but I really mean it, Zazu. You do have glamour. If I'm not telling the truth, may Paramount tear up my contract. Whoa! We better get on with this before something really happens. Say, Roger, have you got Marlena's script?
Yes, Bob, here it is, Zazu, just the way Marlena left it at rehearsal last night.
Okay, Zazu, from now on, you're Marlena Dietrich. Try and lose yourself. Try hard.
I'll try, but I don't think I'll have any luck.
All right, you're Marlena Dietrich. We'll take it from the spot where I'm making love to you.
Oh, dear.
Marlena, I love you. Come into my arms.
Oh, kiss me, do.
Wait a minute. That's not what it says in the script. When I say come into my arms, Marlena was supposed to say scram bum.
I know, but I don't get the chances Marlena Dietrich does.
Well, let's skip that part. Marlena, don't spurn me. Did you get that beautiful corsage I sent you this morning?
Did you send that?
Yes. Wasn't it tied with a pretty ribbon? I borrowed it from a little girl in the street.
Well, one of her curls was still in it.
Well, it was a hurry-up job. But let's not talk about these trivial things. Marlena, you've been avoiding me. Have you been going around with anybody else?
Yes, anybody else.
Well, what's the matter with me, Marlena? Look at me. Am I repulsive looking? You can answer later. Look. I may not be as strong or as handsome as John Conte, but won't you say you love me?
First, let me meet John Conte.
Somebody call me.
Oh, isn't he wonderful?
Oh, shucks. You're pretty swell yourself, Zazu. Marlena.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, Marlena. You know, the first time I saw you, well, I knew you were different. And believe me, I know a difference when I see it. For instance, Marlena, and ladies and gentlemen, when I drive into a good Gulf dealer's, I can see a difference there. I know immediately that the orange disc means more than just another gas station. First, because the orange disc shows you where to get Gulf No Knock, the knock-proof gasoline. Second, because your local good Gulf dealer takes a very special interest in extra service for both your car and for you. For your entire family, in fact, because he even has a free Gulf Funny Weekly packed with entertainment for everybody. So won't you make a point of it and stop where you see the Gulf orange disc? Your neighborhood good Gulf dealer who helps bring you this program would also like to help you with some of that famous good Gulf service.
Oh, John, you say the nicest thing.
Oscar Bradley grabs a toothpick and leads the Gulf Orchestra in Alexander's Ragtime Band from the picture of the same name.
Oh, Marlena.
Where is she? Marlena?
Marlena, I don't see her anyplace.
Zazu, you're Marlena, the girl who's bringing glamour to the West. Remember?
You know, look, I'd like to do a Western picture. I bet I'd be good, too. Head 'em off by the Ghost Boys. They were stealing our cattle.
Well, rustle my bustle if you ain't good, partner.
How would you two cowhands like to step out of the way and make room for a real Westerner?
Oh, not you, Roger.
No, I mean a real two-gun, six-shooting, lasso-throwing, cow-punching He-Man from out Montana way. Gary Cooper. Hiya, Roger. Hello, Jerry. Say, I'm glad you're here. I've got a surprise for you.
Yeah, surprise.
Yep, I want you to meet Marlena Dietrich.
Is that Marlena Dietrich?
Uh-huh.
Well, so long.
Now, wait a minute. Maybe I should explain, Gary. Marlena couldn't be here today. Zazu has Marlena's lines.
What's that?
Zazu has Marlena Dietrich's lines.
Oh. Well, not from where I'm standing.
Well, let's go ahead as if Marlena were here. Gary, this is Marlena Dietrich.
Yippee.
Very expressive, these Westerners.
I'm glad to know you, Miss Dietrich. I'm Gary Cooper.
Yippee.
Gary, this is Bob Hope.
Yep.
Bob wants to be a Western star, too, Gary. Can you teach him anything about shooting?
Sure, I came from an old family of shooters. I'll never forget the time my uncle had a duel with Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo Bill, why, he was the fastest shooting guy in the West.
My Uncle Luke was faster. They both reached for the guns at the same time. But before Buffalo Bill could even get his hand to his holster, my uncle whipped out his gun, whirled it around his finger 10 times, and fired.
What happened?
He shot himself.
Say, if I make a Western, I'd like to play the part of Buffalo Bill, and Marlena, you could be Calamity Jane.
You'd be a real Buffalo Bill.
Oh, thanks, and you'd be a real Calamity Jane. Say, Roger, how's about that Western sketch we were going to do with Marlena Dietrich? Are we still going to do it?
Well, I should say so. Let's do it right now. Ready, Zazu? Music, Oscar. Ladies and gentlemen, the Gulf Screen Guild Theater presents the Gulf Gas Pump Players in an engulfing epic of the range entitled The Girl of the Woolly Wet, or She Was Wearing Slacks, So She Died Like a Man. Starring Gary Cooper, Marlena Zazu, Dietrich Pitts, and Bob Hope. All characters portrayed in this sketch are fictitious, and any living persons to whom they bear similarity are better off dead. As the scene opens, we find Gary Cooper as Two-Gun Slim digging his new well. He's singing happily as he works.
Well, all right. Dig, dig, dig. Well, all right. Whoa. Hey, you frightened me, stranger. You didn't make any noise when you rode up.
I know, my horse's feet hurt, so he took off his shoes. You mind if I tie him up?
Not at all. Beautiful teeth on that horse.
Sure, that's a Pepsodent plug. My name's Bob Hopalong Cassidy, stranger, and I want a job. I've been riding around for days looking for work. That's what I want, work.
Well, you come to the right place. I got a deep well to dig. Lots of dishes to wash and plenty of wood to chop.
Well, I'll come around when you're not so busy.
Oh. Wait a minute, stranger. If you don't like that kind of work, I'll give you a job punching cows.
Well, that's a little rough for me.
Is it?
Yeah, couldn't I just slap him a little? But before we get to work, I'll step into the cigar store.
There's no cigar store around here.
There isn't, and Duck, there's an Indian behind us.
Don't worry. He won't shoot. That's no arrow he's holding. He's a friendly Indian. Gee, I've just lost a friend. You get to work down at the barn, Hope along. Here comes my gal, Zezinda.
Whoa. Hiya, Slim. Help me out of this well.
Hiya, gal. What are you doing here? Thank goodness.
I lost some cattle. Have you seen any of my cattle in your pasture?
Can't say as I'd recognize your cattle, but I'll look around. By the way, gal, what's your brand?
Lady Esther. What's yours?
Hey, boss, run for your life. The whole place is... Hiya, babe. Say, the whole place is surrounded by Indians. Run for your life.
What? What did you say?
Oh, nothing important. Indians or something. Hello, beautiful. Where'd you come from?
That's my gal, Zezinda, and if you step back, you can see her better.
Oh, hello, Zezinda.
Oh, watch out. Slim is very jealous if you have anything in mind, I hope.
Jealousy? What do I care about jealousy? Might as well know it now. I'm madly in love with you. You have gorgeous hair, beautiful eyes, and wonderful lips.
Oh, now you've done it. Slim heard you. He's drawing his gun and he's coming over here.
What's the matter with her teeth?
Nothing at all. I think it's a beautiful tooth. Zezinda, my beloved.
Oh, pardon me. Don't forget where you left off, but the Indians are shooting arrows at us.
Look out. Here comes what you do. Hop along. Hop along.
Miss me.
Look out. Here comes an arrow at you, Slim.
Here comes the ones at you, gal.
Oh, I can't stand this any longer. I've got to let Slim know that we love each other. I'm going to kiss you right under his nose.
Then would you do the same to me?
Oh, Slim.
Yes.
Look. Come, Zezinda, kiss me.
Dearest.
Now, Slim, have you got anything to say to me?
Yeah. How was it?
Marvelous.
I'm going to do that someday. I bet you.
You don't understand, Slim. I love Zezinda, too, and I'll shoot it out with you if you're brave enough.
Sure, I'm brave enough. Count up to 10, gal.
What, from memory?
You can do it. Just take it slow.
I'll try. Stand back to back and I'll count off. Walk 10 steps, then turn around and fire.
I'm ready.
Me too.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and...
6.
Are you sure?
Yeah, go ahead.
7, 8, 9, 10. I'll take it. Hello. Oh, all right. Goodbye. It was Slim.
So that big, long-legged coyote ran away, huh?
Oh, no, he didn't. He took 10 steps and found himself in Salt Lake City.
The singing star of the Maxwell House program, whose appearance is good news anytime. Connie Boswell, and she's singing a number she introduced and recorded a short time ago, and which is already one of the country's hits. At least you could say hello.
At least you could say hello. You don't have to hurt me so by crossing the street whenever we meet, sweetheart. At least you could say hello. It wasn't so long ago that you held me tight and whispered good night till dawn's early light. Don't worry, there's no danger. You needn't break your day. You'd better hurry, stranger. You might be late. Don't make her wait. For, darling, I love you so. I just had to let you know. When you're going my way, at least you could say hello. Don't worry, there's no danger. You needn't break your day. You'd better hurry, stranger. You might be late. Don't make her wait. But, darling, I love you so. I just had to let you know. When you're going my way, at least you could say hello.
And now our stars step before the curtain here in the Gulf Theater to take part in our weekly question box. I challenge them to answer my questions about Hollywood and the people in pictures, and they've got to answer the question correctly or pay any forfeit I name. Gary, Zezu, Bob, you accept the challenge?
We do?
Yep. Say, wait a minute, Rod. Since our listeners don't get a chance to play, I'd like to pass a challenge along to them before you start your question.
All right, John Conte, you go right ahead.
Thank you, Roger. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a friendly challenge to those of you who drive an automobile. And in America, that's just about everybody. The next time you fill up with gas, make this experiment. Let your tank get pretty well down, and then fill up with Gulf no-NOx gasoline. See if you don't notice a real difference in the way your car performs. See if you don't get a smoother, more even flow of power from your motor. And above all, see if those chattering, pinging motor knocks don't disappear. Now, there's a good, sensible reason why you can expect such fine results from Gulf no-NOx. No-NOx has been raised to such a high anti-knock rating that it ends motor knocks under all normal driving conditions. So why not test the advantages of Gulf no-NOx yourself in your own car? You can't lose anything, and you'll get a chance to learn firsthand the advantage of always using Gulf no-NOx gasoline.
Thank you, John. Thank you. And now for the question box. But first of all, I want to tell you that the stars have no idea what the questions or the answers are going to be. They're standing here on the stage in the Gulf Theater before our large audience, and believe me, they're strictly on their own. So here they come.
Okay, Roger.
All right, here's the question. In the history of motion pictures, what story has been made into a picture more times than any other?
Was I in it?
I can't give you any clues, Gary. Do you know the answer to the question?
Well, it won't hurt me to say Bo Jess, will it?
No, it won't hurt you, but that isn't the right answer. The story that has been made the most times is East Lynne, and now here's your forfeit, Gary. I understand you're quite a performer on the kazoo. Well, now I'll tell you, here is your forfeit. Here is the kazoo, and you must play Pony Boy.
Well, I saw a kazoo before, but I never heard Pony Boy.
The wrong end. Good enough.
Yeah, I've heard it.
Thank you, Gary Cooper, and you can keep the kazoo. And the next question goes to Zezu Pitts. Zezu, which of the three following people appeared in the picture of the women? Norma Shearer, Rosalind Russell, or Lucille DeSure?
All three of them. Lucille LeSueur was Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford's real name.
That's right, Zezu. Very good. And Joan Crawford will be here in the Gulf Theater next week. And now for Bob Hope. Here's a question for you, Bob.
Ronald Coleman.
What do you mean, Ronald Coleman?
Well, Ronald Coleman is going to be here in the Gulf Theater with Joan Crawford next week, and I thought it'd be a good time to get it in, Roger.
She is going to be here, and thank you very much. But first of all, who are identified with the following? Eyes?
Eddie Kenner.
Nose?
Joey Brown.
Horn?
I won't answer. Come on.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Next week, Joan Crawford, Ronald Coleman, and many others. This is Roger Pryor saying good night, everybody.
Bob Hope will soon be seen in the Paramount picture The Cat and the Canary. Gary Cooper's latest Samuel Goldwyn release is The Real Glory. Zezu Pitts is currently seen in RKO's Nurse Edith Cavell. The Gulf Screen Guild Theater originated at Earl Carroll's Columbia Square, Hollywood. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The Gulf Screen Guild Theater. Director of the Gulf Theater and your host, Roger Pryor. Good evening, everybody. Your neighborhood good Gulf dealer and the Gulf Oil Companies again welcome you to the Gulf Screen Guild Theater. And tonight, as usual, we have more of your favorite stars. Joan Crawford, Lou Ayres, Ronald Coleman, Montague Love, and, of course, Oscar Bradley and his Gulf Orchestra. And incidentally, Ronnie Coleman is the subject of a mild rib today. It seems the day after he finished making The Light That Failed for Paramount, Ronnie was strolling in his garden when he heard an automobile horn blow at his gate. saw a car just like that of a friend of his, hopped over the fence, threw open the car door, and sat down. Then suddenly realized he was sitting right between two tourists. I don't know who was the more surprised, Ronnie or the visiting fireman. You know, both Joan Crawford and Lou Ayres have been working almost day and night the past week, yet both of them gave up what spare time they had in order to rehearse for their appearance here in the Gulf Theater tonight. That's because the Gulf Theater is really the star's own theater. For every single cent of the money that Gulf would ordinarily give to the stars who appear here is given instead to meet the needs of the Motion Picture Relief Fund and to build a home for those members of the picture industry who can no longer provide for themselves. And now the lights are beginning to dim, so on with the show. Tonight we bring you a play written by Leonard Spiegelgas and called None Shall Part Us. Our play opens in Paris, the month of September, the year 1937. It tells the story of four people: Sarah Farrington, played by Joan Crawford; Michael Farrington, who's Lou Ayres; Captain Alan Harcourt, personated by Ronald Coleman; and Sir George Packman, played by Montague Lowe. It's early evening, and in a small cafe we first meet Sarah and Michael. And now as stage manager, I called for lights, music, curtain.
Your health, Mrs. Farrington.
Oh, no, it's my turn to toast. Here's to the curé who married us. By the way, darling, did you notice he had tears in his eyes when we left?
Well, the old boy wasn't crying over us. Those were tears of gratitude for the fee I slipped.
Oh, Michael.
That's a fact. Listen, that's my favorite song.
Isn't it the love song from Ireland, too?
Yes. Remember? None shall part us from each other. Look, let's get the car and drive up to Sacré-Cœur. From there, we can look down on the whole of Paris. And we'll wave goodbye and drive on until a road sign says, "Welcome to Italy," or Algiers, or Tibet, or wherever we have to stop for gas. Then we'll...
Hello, Farrington.
What? Oh, hello, Harcourt.
I thought I'd find you in Paris. We just missed each other in Rome and Vienna.
Yes, by only a few moments. What a pity. Well, you know me, always on the go. Oh, I'm sorry. You haven't met my wife, Captain.
Your wife?
Yes, we were married this afternoon. Sarah, darling, this is a very old friend of mine, Captain Alan Harcourt.
How do you do, Captain Harcourt?
How do you do? Oh, haven't we met somewhere before?
London, Sussex, Packman House?
Of course. You're Sir George Packman's daughter.
You see, Sarah, you can't keep anything from Harcourt. He never forgets a face.
Oh, for a moment I thought I might have made a very special impression.
As a matter of fact, you did. I wonder if I might take your husband away for a few minutes. There's something important I'd like to discuss with him.
You aren't by any chance referring to that business in London?
That's right. I thought you'd know what it was.
Oh, no business now, Michael, please.
You see, my wife and I were planning a sort of moratorium on everyday affairs.
I hoped we could take the Dover boat tonight. We'd be in London tomorrow morning.
The Dover boat tonight, London tomorrow. Oh, that's ridiculous, Captain Harcourt. Michael and I are driving up to Sacré-Cœur in the moonlight, and then on to Italy, Algiers, and Tibet. And we're never coming back to reality, are we, darling?
Well, the fog doesn't seem to be holding us up, Mrs. Farrington. We should sight the coast in an hour.
Oh, I wish we weren't going there. Why did you let Captain Harcourt talk you into it, Michael?
The captain can be very persuasive. He practically never loses an argument.
Tell me, when did you and Michael meet?
On Wednesday last. It was a whole week before we decided to get married.
One of the longest engagements on record. And have you written your father the good news, Mrs. Farrington?
No, I'm saving Michael for a surprise.
A sort of look what I've brought back from Paris with me.
Exactly. And I know he'll find Michael as charming as I do.
I hope so.
Oh, why, I'll be wearing a top hat to cover my horns.
I planned to cable Father when we knew where we were going, but I never thought it would be Dover.
But I'll tell you what, darling. You give me 10 minutes alone with Harcourt, and perhaps I can talk him out of this nonsense.
All right. I'll go down and inspect our luxurious stateroom. I don't think anyone's been in it since Mary, Queen of Scots.
Now, Harcourt, let's be ourselves. I suppose I should be flattered that they finally set you on my trail. Makes me almost an international crisis.
When are you going to tell her, Farrington?
You know I can't tell her. There must be some other way.
There's no other way.
Then why didn't you come right out with it instead of pretending you were an old friend?
Would you have liked me to? No. No, it's got to come from you.
I'll admit to an occasional robbery, but you'll have to prove the murder.
I know, but there was murder, and you're going to hang for it. It's one thing to be a gentleman thief playing ducks and drakes with the police, but why get a girl like Sarah into this mess?
Well, my luck failed me, that's all. I'd have been in the clear by now if it hadn't been for you.
Well, you'll have to tell her as soon as she comes back.
All right, Harcourt. Let me have a cigarette, will you?
There you are. Light?
Please.
This won't help you, Farrington.
Let that gun drop or I'll break your arm. That's the ticket. Now stand over there.
You can't get off the boat.
I can if I dispose of you. My dear friend, Captain Harcourt, lost at sea. Most unfortunate.
I couldn't stay away any longer. Why, Michael, what on earth are you doing with that gun?
Gun? Oh, it belongs to Harcourt.
Oh, I hate guns.
He was just showing it
Oh,
to
give
him.
it back.
Well, Sarah,
Well, before it goes off or something. Come on.
Thank you, Farrington.
Did you settle anything while I was away?
No, darling. Harcourt seems absolutely set on our going to London.
Seems I'm fated to be the villain, Mrs. Farrington.
Well, I suppose we'll just have to make the best of it, won't we?
Yes, I guess we will. Well, let's have a celebration anyway. Let's celebrate Harcourt's unfailing good health.
And someday, after we've been everywhere and done everything, I think we'll take a place near the sea. But we wouldn't want to stay there all the time, would we, Michael?
Why, not with the whole world to stretch our legs in. More champagne, Harcourt?
No, thanks. I've had quite enough.
Darling, you know, we haven't been fair to Harcourt.
Why? What do you mean?
You know, he's never seen you in that blue dress. The one you were wearing the day we met. Makes your eyes as blue as the lakes at twilight.
Then indeed you haven't been fair to me.
Please put it on.
Now? But Michael is so late.
I know, but somehow I want to remember this funny little cabin and you looking so beautiful everyone envied me.
All right, darling. I won't be long. If you and Captain Harcourt will go up on deck.
Sarah,
Yes?
aren't you going to kiss me? Goodbye?
I'll only be gone 5 minutes.
You don't know how long 5 minutes can be. There. We'll meet you at the top of the stairs. Goodbye, darling.
Goodbye.
After you, Harcourt. Well, there isn't much time for a compromise.
Compromise? What kind of game are you playing now?
Look, you're taking me back to hang. But I can give you the same results with far less trouble.
What are you talking about?
I'm asking permission to die, but in my own way.
You haven't that choice. Neither have I.
I'm not asking for myself. You know that. It would keep my wife out of it.
Yes, I've already thought of that.
Will the law be overly cheated if we let Sarah think I was a reckless young man who simply drank too much wine and fell into the channel?
That appeals to you as a grand gesture. But you haven't the courage for it.
Well, every man likes to believe he's brave. I think I'll take a turn around the deck. Care to come along?
No, thanks. No, I'll be here when Sarah gets back. Over here by the rail, Mrs. Farrington.
Oh. Oh, where's Michael?
He'll be back directly. But why are you trembling? Is anything wrong?
I don't know. While I was dressing, I thought I heard Michael call me.
Well, you couldn't have. He was here with me until a moment ago.
Listen.
What?
Didn't you hear?
I heard the foghorn.
But the music, didn't you hear that?
No. No music.
It sounded just like that song we were talking about.
What, Iolanthe?
Yes, our song. Michael's in mine. Do you know it?
Oh, yes. None shall part us from each other. Isn't that how it goes? One in life and love are we.
There. Didn't you hear it that time?
Oh, it's only your imagination.
I guess I'm hearing things. Are you sure Michael said he'd come back here?
Oh, quite sure. Now, you're getting yourself upset over nothing.
Yes, I suppose I am. But if you knew how much I love him, how empty my whole life would be. What was that they shouted?
Some command.
But didn't he say...
Now, come, let's wait for Michael downstairs. Just one of the crew.
Michael.
Well, come below, Sarah.
Oh, it's Michael. Oh, dear God. Michael!
And so, ladies and gentlemen, the curtain falls on Act One of our play. In the brief minute before the curtain rises and you learn more about the mysterious Michael, and before we get an answer to the question of what will happen to Sarah, Mr. John Conte has a question he'd like to ask you.
Thank you, Raj. Ladies and gentlemen, when you notice a neighbor going out of his way to be helpful and friendly, you usually feel that he's a pretty good sort of fellow, don't you? Well, when you get to know him, you're pretty sure to feel the same way about your neighborhood good golf dealer, and for the same reason. Because your good golf dealer is always ready with little extra services that you don't get everywhere. He's got a free Golf Funny Weekly for you, for instance, something that's exclusive with golf. And, of course, he's got that knock-proof Golf No-Nox gasoline and that grand Golf Pride motor oil, something else that you can get only when you see the Golf Orange Disc. So next time you're out in your car and need gas or oil or service, give a thought to the man who helps bring the stars of the Gulf Theater into your home. The man who's always ready to make your trip pleasanter and to make your car run smoother. And stop at your neighborhood good golf dealers.
The curtain is about to rise on the second act of tonight's play in the Gulf Screen Guild Theater, starring Joan Crawford, Ronald Coleman, Lou Ayres, and Montague Love. It's 3 weeks later in the country house of Sir George Packman. Lights. Music. Curtain.
There's no question about Michael Farrington being dead, Sir George. The body has been recovered and identified. How is Sarah?
I'm worried about her.
What did the doctors say?
All the usual things. Rest, time, travel.
Well, if there's anything I can do...
I'm afraid not. At present, there doesn't seem to be much any of us can do for Sarah.
Sarah.
My father told me you said Michael was dead.
Sarah, please.
He wasn't really dead until my father told me that.
Sarah, let me take you home.
No, I can't go back there. Michael's not there anymore. He's not anywhere. I've lost him. I've come to you to find him again. You've got to help me.
What do you mean, Sarah?
He said that you were his friend. So you knew all about him. All the small, wonderful things I never had the chance to share.
But I'm afraid I don't remember all you want to know.
Oh, you must remember. When people go away like Michael, they usually leave something behind. A letter or a book with the page turned down to show where they've stopped reading and went to sleep. Or a pen that might have written, "I love you, darling." But, you see, I haven't anything that belonged to her. Nothing at all.
You think remembering will help? Perhaps it's much better to forget.
Well, I want to remember. I must. Tell me, did Michael ever come here?
Here?
Oh, he must have. This is his kind of room. All messy and cluttered with things. Men's things. Which chair did he sit in?
Chair? Oh, this one. Here, by the fire.
Oh, I might have known. Yes. His head must have rested just about here.
Yes, I think so.
And this pipe making curls of smoke all the way to the ceiling.
Yes, that was it.
Did he ever use this tobacco?
He might have.
And then talking. Did you ever know anyone who talked so much or so beautifully?
No, never.
Where did you first meet Michael?
Why, I guess it must have been in Paris.
Who introduced you?
I believe it was Colonel Astley.
Colonel Astley. Where is he? May I meet him?
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
Well, he's gone to South America.
Oh, but you must have had other friends in common.
No, not that I recall.
And then you're my only link with Michael.
I'm afraid so.
We'll have to see each other very often.
As often as you wish, Sarah.
And together, perhaps we can make everyone see how really great he was.
Of course. Together we can do it.
Say that again.
Together we can do it.
It's strange. For a moment when you said that, I almost felt that you were Michael.
Alan, tell us the story about Uncle Michael and the rescue.
No, Aunt Sarah will tell you, darling. Alan leaves out so much. It was darling to feel when your Uncle Michael. Alan, you must tell them about Michael when he was in Mexico.
Mexico? Oh, yes. Well, Michael went down there just at the beginning of the trouble.
Alan told Uncle Michael was the best flyer in England, Aunt Sarah.
In England? Oh, he was joking. Your Uncle Michael was the greatest flyer in the whole world.
In laying this cornerstone of what will be the Michael Farrington Home for Underprivileged Children, we are perpetuating the memory of a fine man, Michael Farrington.
Sarah, you simply got to let up. If you don't, you'll drop in your tracks. You're not yourself.
I'm quite all right.
Why not be satisfied with what you've already done for Michael? You can't live forever with a ghost.
There isn't anything I'd change. Not now. Perhaps someday.
Not someday. Now. This minute. Michael's been dead for more than a year. You and I are alive. There's so much ahead for both of us. Together, Sarah.
No, Alan, don't.
Why?
You're forgetting Michael.
There is no Michael. There's only you and I. Look at me, Sarah. Don't shut out everything else.
No, please don't.
Sarah. Sarah, darling. I love you.
Oh, Alan. Why did you say that? Now you've spoiled everything. Please go.
Oh, Sarah.
No, I mean it. Please go.
Was Michael in Tibet?
No, in China.
But you said in Brazil.
You're thinking of Mexico.
Did he ride that time?
I believe he flew.
But are you sure?
I think that's so.
Did Michael save them?
I'm sure he did.
Was it really Michael?
I can't remember.
Can't remember?
No, I don't know.
Michael?
Alan.
Michael?
Alan! Alan, help me! Alan!
It's a job you've got to do, Harker. That's why I sent for you.
But, Sir George, what can I do?
It's a fixation. She's got to be shocked out of it. The doctors all agree on that.
I know. I created this ghost for her, and now you want me to destroy it.
Exactly.
But you understand, I love Sarah. If I do what you want me to do...
But if you don't do it, Harker, there's no hope for her.
It's as bad as that?
As bad as that.
All right. I'll do it.
I'm so glad you came, Alan.
Are you, Sarah?
Yes, the last month's been dreadful without you.
Oh, I've missed seeing you, too.
I've been so confused.
Well, you've been ill.
No, not ill, just... Well, I felt so alone at times, as though Michael had gone away forever. Oh, I had never been. I even walked down here to the cliff to listen to the sea and try to hear his voice.
Sarah, nothing's imperishable. Everything has to end.
Yes, I know. And now all that is ended. Everything's all right now, and Michael's back. He came back with you. Now we can talk about him, and he'll speak to me again.
No, that isn't what I mean, Sarah. It's time we ended with Michael.
With Michael?
When you came to my rooms over a year ago, you were sick, in mind and soul.
Of course, but now
I was
all
foolish
right.
enough to believe I could cure you.
You did, Alan.
No, I've given you happiness, but I've nearly destroyed you.
If this is about Michael...
It is, but not the Michael you knew.
I don't like you when you talk like this, Alan.
Oh, you'll hate me when I finished.
I don't want to hear.
I'm afraid you must. You've got to know the real Michael instead of the one I created.
There's only one Michael.
Yes, the Michael you married. The Michael who was cheap and small.
No.
A scoundrel, a thief, and a murderer.
No, I won't listen.
He was never my friend. He hated me because I arrested him on the day he married
You're
you.
lying.
Michael wasn't even his
It
name.
was.
You married Davy Crichton, wanted by the police. But you're infatuated with Michael Farrington, who never lived at all.
No, Michael!
Sarah, come back. The cliff! Sarah, come back!
So glad you came, Harker.
How is she?
Out of danger. She's been calling for Michael.
Still there? May I speak to her?
I wish you would. I'll wait for you downstairs.
Michael,
Yes. Yes, Sarah, darling.
where are you?
Here, close beside you.
You went away.
Oh, but I'm back.
Don't ever leave me again.
No, I won't. Not ever. Not if you live. You must live, darling. For me.
For you, Michael.
We've so many things to do. Don't you remember? We must still drive up to Sacré-Cœur in the moonlight and look down on the whole of Paris with stars above and below us.
And then?
Then in the morning, driving on and on until a road sign says, "Welcome to Italy," or Algiers, or Tibet, wherever our car runs out of gas.
Yes. Yes, I remember.
And I'll be so proud of you.
Will I wear the blue dress?
Oh, yes. Yes, Sarah. Didn't I insist you put it on that night on the boat?
Yes, Michael.
And when you came up, you were so beautiful, everyone envied me.
What?
On the deck of the steamer, darling, you remember?
But you didn't see the dress that night.
Yes, I did, Sarah.
No. Michael wasn't there. It was Alan who was waiting for me.
No, Sarah, no.
You're not Michael. You're Alan.
Yes, I'm Alan.
Oh, Alan. I wanted so to die to be with Michael. But when I ran toward him on the cliff, he spoke to me. Only it wasn't his voice. It was your voice. You are Michael. You created him for me.
I had to, Sarah. It was torture because I loved you all the while.
And our song, Michael's and mine, that was yours too, wasn't it? Remember?
Yes. None shall part us from each other. One in love and life are we. All in all to one another. I to thou, and thou to me.
Oh, I've been so wrong. It was you, always you I needed.
We'll start from the beginning, Sarah. I'll make you happy again.
Happy? Oh, but Alan, I am happy.
Thank you, Joan, Lou, Ronnie, and Montague for your wonderful performances. I don't know what I can say except thank you, thank you, thank you. And now, don't go far away, because in just a moment we're going to ask you to step before our curtain here in the Gulf Screen Guild Theater and take part in our weekly feature, The Question Box. You see, you must answer my questions about Hollywood correctly or else pay any forfeit I name. For instance, Gary Cooper missed last week, and he had to play a solo on the kazoo. Well, all right, here we go. Now, wait a minute. What did I do with those questions?
I hope you lost them.
Oh, wait, Rod. You just put them over there. That's right, by the foot.
Oh, yeah, there they are. Thank you, John. I'm always forgetting something.
Well, aren't we all? You know, my grandfather used to tie knots in his necktie to help him remember things. And it wasn't a bad idea either, because, well, lots of people decide to do something and then forget all about it when the time comes. That's why, Raj, before you begin your questions, I'd like to suggest a simple reminder to all of our listeners who've been meaning to try a tank full of Gulf No-Nox gasoline. I suggest, ladies and gentlemen, that you listen for a knock, a motor knock in your automobile engine, and then the instant you hear that knock, drive in at the next Good Gulf dealers and ask for Gulf No-Nox gasoline. Now, if you tried some other gasolines, you might not notice any difference, but when you try Gulf No-Nox, you should. And a big difference, too. Because Gulf No-Nox is made to end motor knocks under all normal driving conditions. No-Nox has been raised to such a high octane rating that it gives you smooth, flexible power. Makes you feel as though you added a couple of extra cylinders to your engine. So tomorrow, don't forget, when you hear a motor knock, think of Gulf No-Nox and fill up at the sign of the Gulf orange dip.
Thank you, John Conte. And now the first question goes to Joan Crawford. Oh, by the way, Joan, I saw you in MGM's The Women. You were swell.
Thanks, Rod. You're sweet, but what about that question?
Well, all right, here it is. If you went to a Broadway show in 1927, which of the following names would you most likely have seen dancing in the chorus? Boris Karloff, James Cagney, Freddie Bartholomew, Pat O'Brien, Robert Montgomery, or Maxie Rosenblum?
I give up.
Well, the answer is Pat O'Brien and James Cagney. Both of them used to be chorus boys.
Well, I knew it all the time, but the last person to call them chorus boys is still in the hospital.
Well, I can understand that, but nevertheless, you have to pay a forfeit. Now, Let me see. You must spell your name backwards, fast, 3 times.
D-R-O-R-F-W... Oh, I don't know. Oh,
well, thank you. Thank you ever so much, Joan Crawford. And the next question goes to Lou Ayres, whom you'll soon be seeing in MGM's new picture, Remember. Lou, what female star has always appeared as a male in pictures?
I bet you thought you had me that time. It's,
I still think I have.
Mm-mm.
All right.
Baby Sandy.
Baby Sandy is right. That's right, Lou. He is a girl. And now the next question goes to Ronald Coleman.
Yes, brother.
All right. All right, Ronald, here it is. Who is the only living woman, I got that? The only living woman who was made the central character in a novel written by one of the world's greatest writers of mystery stories?
Mystery writer,
Mystery writer.
Did he write that question?
Well, he might.
I know. I'm sorry. It's still a mystery.
Still a mystery. Well, Ronnie, the answer is Gracie Allen in the Gracie Allen murder case written by S.S. Van Dyne. Incidentally, Gracie Allen's going to be here in the Gulf Screen Guild Theater next week with George Burns, James Cagney, the star of Underpup, J.M. Kerrigan, Gloria Jean.
The Gulf Screen Guild Theater. The director of the Gulf Theater and your host, Roger Pryor.
Good evening, everybody. Your neighborhood good Gulf dealer and the Gulf Oil Companies again welcome you to the Gulf Theater. Another great cast for you tonight. You'll meet Vinnie Barnes, Hedda Hopper, Adolphe Manjou, Robert Montgomery, and, as usual, Oscar Bradley and his Gulf Orchestra. And here's the result of my news gathering at rehearsal this morning. It seems that Vinnie Barnes is not only a real swing fan, a jitterbug at heart, but she plays a hot drum in Ben Hecht's newly formed amateur swing band. Also discovered that Adolphe Manjou is considered one of America's foremost authorities on stamp collecting. What's more, this country's 8 million stamp collectors might be interested in knowing that Adolphe got a very rare stamp yesterday, the only superb used copy of an Orangeburg coil in existence. And say, talking about hobbies, Bob Montgomery's is coming in mighty handy these days. Bob, you know, spends his spare time studying criminology and the quirks of the criminal mind, which is just about perfect, because in his new MGM picture, The Earl of Chicago, Bob portrays a Chicago gangster who has the unusual experience of becoming an English earl. And now, as the curtain goes up, Oscar Bradley's Gulf Orchestra opens our show with two grand tunes by Noel Coward, Dance Little Lady and the unforgettable I'll Follow My Secret Heart from Conversation Piece. Play for tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is by Noel Coward. But before we begin, I'd like you to meet the cast of characters. First, Vinnie Barnes.
I play the part of Louise Charteris.
Adolphe Manjou.
I play the part of Louise's husband, Hubert Charteris.
Hedda Hopper.
I'm Clara, Hubert's sister.
Robert Montgomery.
I'm Carl Sands, unattached.
And John Conte.
Well, I'm not really in tonight's play, but right now I'm playing the part of spokesman for the man who helps make this play and all the entertainment in the Gulf Theater possible. Your neighborhood good Gulf dealer. And although I could tell you a lot about your Gulf dealer, his actions when he services your car will speak louder than anything I can say. Notice how friendly your Gulf dealer's smile is when he welcomes you to his station. See how careful he is to fill your tank without spilling gasoline on the finish, and how clean he wipes your windshield and headlamps. Little actions like these tell you beyond doubt that there's something special about that Good Gulf service, just as there is about those swell Good Gulf products. And one thing more. Have you seen that perfectly swell picture page in the Gulf Funny Weekly with interesting facts about the famous movie stars that appear on the Gulf Theater? Well, it's well worth a look just for the inside dope it gives on how Hollywood lives at home. So stop tomorrow where you see the Gulf Orange Disc, get a copy of the free Gulf Funny Weekly, meet your friend, the Good Gulf dealer, and get some of that Good Gulf service.
Thank you, John Conte. And now, as stage manager, I call for lights. Music. Curtain. Our play tonight is a bit of intimate eavesdropping on four charming people. The place is India. And from the native quarter, a love song is carried through the throbbing darkness by an ardent wind from off the China Sea. The mad dogs have slunk off to the brush, but the Englishmen who were out in the midday sun have changed to white mess jackets and are dancing at the club. As the curtain rises on the deserted lounge, a man and woman come dancing in as though they'd never been apart.
The music stopped.
Yes, I know.
You shouldn't keep on holding me like this.
You want me to let you go?
No?
Someone was kissed in this room not long ago.
How do you know?
I can feel it. It's in the air. Two people who suddenly found themselves in love, like you and me. He said, I love you, and kissed her, like this.
Oh, my darling.
Louise!
Oh, dearest.
My own.
Louise! Did you say something?
No, I thought you did.
No. Oh, darling.
Sweetheart.
Louise! Louise!
Isn't that Louise?
Why, yes. Hubert, who is that man kissing your wife?
Well, I don't know. He isn't even a member of the club. Louise.
What? Oh, it's you, Hubert.
Louise, really?
Well, really what, Clara?
Friends of yours, I take it.
Oh, excuse me, yes. This is my husband.
Your husband?
Yes, I'm afraid I didn't catch your name.
Carl Sands.
Mr. Sands, my husband, Hubert Charteris.
How do you do?
How do you do?
And my sister-in-law, Mrs. Clara Bessel.
Charmed.
A pleasure.
If Mr. Sands will excuse you, the car's here, Louise. I think we'd better go if you're ready.
I'm not ready, Hubert.
Oh, do come along, Louise.
I can't go, Clara. Really, I can't.
Louise, please. This is most embarrassing. And I'm afraid I must insist till you come home.
But Mr.
Sands, Carl Sands.
Thank you. Mr. Sands and I have fallen in love.
Really, deeply in love.
I would prefer not to discuss yours and my wife's feelings towards each other, Mr. Sands.
Oh, but that's silly, Hubert.
Come, Louise.
I've told you. I can't.
Suppose we all have a drink.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh, don't snort that way, Hubert. I think it's a good idea.
And we might also sit down.
Please. Listen, Louise.
Yes, Clara?
You're a married woman. You can't behave like this. It's too idiotic.
Oh, Clara. Can't you see? It's true.
Oh, don't be so foolish. What's true?
We're in love. That's what's true. Really it is, Mrs.
Bethel, I told you once.
We're really in love, Mrs. Bethel.
I don't believe it. I appeal to you, Mr. Sands. Please go away. Oh, go away at once.
That's quite impossible.
I detest scenes, and I'm finding this very unpleasant, Mr. Sands. Will you kindly leave the club and never speak to my wife again in any circumstances whatever?
Oh, it's more important than that, Hubert. Really it is.
It's the most important thing that has ever happened to me in my whole life, Mr. Charteris.
Once more, Louise, for the last time. Will you come home?
No, Hubert, I can't.
Very well. Come along, Clara.
No, wait. You can't go either.
Please let go of my arm, Louise, and don't be ridiculous.
Look at me. Look closely. I've been your wife for 13 years. You're wise and intelligent, and you know me well. Look at me.
Please go, Mr. Sands.
No.
I'm looking at you, Louise.
Well, don't you see?
Yes, I see. Coming, Clara?
Good night, Mr. Sands.
Good night.
Now, come along, Louise.
Oh, don't be silly, Clara.
I'm not being silly. I'm acutely uncomfortable. Oh, you're behaving abominably. For heaven's sake, pull yourself together and be reasonable. You talk a lot of nonsense about being in love with this man. How could you possibly be in love all in a minute like this?
But we are, Mrs. Bethel.
Please be quiet, Mr. Sands, and let me speak.
Oh, Hubert, do make Clara shut up.
Shut up, Clara.
Oh, I'm ashamed of you. I'm ashamed of you, Hubert.
Well, it's no use railing and roaring, Clara. Hubert's much wiser than you. He's keeping calm and trying to understand, and I'm deeply grateful to him.
Grateful indeed.
Yes, indeed. If he'd behaved as you seem to think he ought to behave, it would only make everything far worse. I suppose you wanted to knock Mr. What was your first name?
Carl.
Carl in the jaw.
I don't want anything of the sort. I want him to treat the situation as it should be treated, as nothing but a joke. A stupid joke. An extremely bad taste.
It's more than that, Clara, and you know it is. That's why you're scared.
Not in the least scared.
You'd better allow me to deal with this, Clara, in my own way.
You know, there is such a thing as being too wise, too understanding, Hubert.
Oh, you're usually pretty intelligent yourself, Clara. I can't think what's happened to you. This thing is here, now, between Carl and me. It's no use pretending it isn't or trying to flip it away as a joke. Nor is it any use taking up a belligerent attitude over it. I'm confused enough myself, utterly bewildered, but I do know that it's real.
What is real?
Love, Mrs. Bethel. We've fallen in love.
Rubbish.
It's not rubbish.
Louise,
Yes, Hubert.
as your husband, what do you want me to do?
I don't know, Hubert.
May I ask you a question?
What is it, Sands?
Are you in love with your wife?
Well, really?
Be quiet, Clara. I'm devoted to Louise. We've been married for many years.
No. I said, are you in love with her?
I love her.
Oh, don't go on evading, Hubert. You know perfectly well what Carl means.
But of course I know what he means. I'll answer truly. I am not in love with Louise in the way that you imagine yourself to be in love with her.
I worship her.
You know nothing about her.
I know that suddenly when we were dancing, an enchantment swept over me. An enchantment that I have never known before and shall never know again. It's obvious that you should think I'm mad and that she's mad too. Our behavior looks idiotic, cheap, anything you like. But it's true, this magic that's happened. It's so true that everything else, all the ordinary ways of behavior, look shabby and unreal beside it. My heart's thumping. I'm trembling like a fool, even now, and I'm trying so hard, so desperately hard, to be calm and explain to you reasonably. I daren't look at her, for if I did, my eyes would brim over with these silly tears, and I should cry like a child.
Oh, my darling.
Don't speak. Let your husband speak. Let him say what's to be done.
How do I know what's to be done?
Perhaps if I step out on the balcony, it'll help you.
He's so considerate. Oh, Clara, do stop pacing up and down. It's no use huffing and puffing and getting yourself into a state. Here it is. This thing that's happened. It's terribly real, and we'd all better look at it clearly and as sensibly as we can. We'd better go away, Carl and I, as soon as possible.
Go away? Where to?
I don't know, Hubert, anywhere.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, be reasonable. You're my wife. How can you? How can I let you?
Well, how much do you mind, really?
Well, that obviously has nothing to do with it.
But I want to know.
I want to know, too. You've made this up, this magic that he talked about. You've conjured it out of the air, and it's smeared over everything. Over me, too. None of it seems real, but it has to be treated as if it were. You ask me how much I mind. You want that as well, don't you? In addition to your new love.
Want what? What do you mean?
You want me to mind, don't you? Don't you?
Oh, Hubert, please don't look like that.
You want everything. Everything in the world. You always have.
Oh, you're pitying yourself. How beastly of you to be so weak. How contemptible of you.
Louise. Hubert.
I've been faithful to you all these years. We stopped being in love with each other ages ago. We became a habit. A well-ordered, useful, social habit.
Hubert. Louise.
Oh, do stop saying Hubert and Louise, Claire. It's maddening.
Please. Do you mind if I help you get to the point? You and your wife are not in love with each other anymore. That's clear enough. And even if you were, this forked lightning that has struck Louise and me would shatter it, scorch it out of existence.
Forked lightning indeed, Mr. Sands.
Earthquake, then, Mrs. Bethel. Tidal wave. Cataclysm.
Louise, I've never not loved you.
Well, I know that, Hubert. I'm deeply attached to you, too.
With your heart?
Oh, of course not. Don't be so sentimental. You haven't come near my heart for years.
If Hubert doesn't strike you in a minute, I will.
Oh, Clara.
Listen, Charteris, I know you won't believe me or even care. But I really am dreadfully sorry about all this. Not about falling in love. That's beyond being sorry about. But that it should happen to be your wife.
Who are you, Sands? Where do you come from?
Hampshire. My father is Admiral Sands.
Dear darling, I wouldn't mind if you were only a boatswain's mate.
I know you wouldn't, sweetheart, but I must explain to your husband.
How you can have the impertinence to be flippant, Louise, at a moment like this.
There's never been a moment like this, Clara. Never before in the history of the world. I'm delirious.
Please go on, Mr. Sands.
I was in the Navy myself, but I was axed in 1924.
What's that?
Kicked out, darling.
Oh, dear. Whatever for?
Oh, never mind that. I understand.
I'm
Go
now
on,
in the
Sands.
shipping business. I represent the IMCL.
What in the name of heaven is the INCL?
Imperial Malayan China Line.
Passenger and freight.
Yes, I know.
I've come from Singapore. I've been interviewing our agents in Pendala.
Little John Thurston and Company?
Little John Thurston and Company.
Oh, little John Thurston and Company, Clara.
I flew up here in the morning plane because I wanted to see a little of the country before I sail on Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Sands, are you married?
I was, but we were divorced in 1927.
Oh, Carl. Did you love her?
Yes, of course I did.
Oh, the moment's changed. I'm not delirious anymore. I can't think of you ever having loved anybody else. What was her name?
Aileen.
You mean Eileen?
No, I do not. I mean Aileen. Ayleen. Aileen.
Very affected.
But it's you I love, Louise, more than anyone in the world, past or future.
Oh, Carl.
Please, just a moment, both of you.
Yes, I'm sorry, Charteris. That was inconsiderate.
I'm trying to be as detached as possible, Sands. It isn't easy.
I know it isn't. It's beastly for you, Charteris. I do see that.
Oh, you're all being so charming to each other. It's positively nauseating.
Dear Mrs. Bethel.
I beg your pardon.
I said, dear Mrs. Bethel, because I admire your integrity enormously, and I do hope when all this is blown over, we shall be close friends.
Blown over? Oh, Carl.
Darling, I didn't mean that part of it.
I have something to say to my wife. Will everybody please be quiet for a moment? Louise, this man whom you so abruptly love says he's sailing on Wednesday.
Yes, on the Euripides.
Oh, but the Euripides goes to Australia.
I have to interview our agents in Sydney.
Oh, we'll have to go on another boat, Carl. The McVitties will be on the Euripides, and I simply can't travel with them.
Do you really mean to go with this man?
Yes, Hubert.
Oh, you're stark staring mad, all of you. Hubert, for goodness sake.
Louise, how real is this to you?
Oh, Hubert, don't be too kind.
Will it be worth it?
Oh, yes, of course it will. It must.
But how do you know so surely, so soon?
We were dancing, and somebody introduced us. I can't remember who. We never heard each other's names. It was a waltz. And in the middle of it, we looked at each other. He said just now it was forked lightning, an earthquake, a tidal wave, cataclysm, but it was more. More than all those things, much more. My heart stopped. And with it, the world stopped, too. There was no more land, sea, or sky. There wasn't even any music. I saw in his eyes a strange infinity. Just him and me, together, forever, and ever, and ever. Oh!
Good heavens!
She's fainted.
Louise, darling.
Put her here on the divan.
Get some water.
In this club? Where?
Raise her feet. Lower her head.
Rub her hands. Don't just stand there.
I say. Listen.
Good Godfrey, it's the national anthem.
Louise, darling.
I believe she's coming too.
Help her to her feet, Sands. Louise, old girl. It's God Save the King.
Going and when. It's very late, and I'm tired.
Oh, we're all tired, Clara. Would you like a sandwich, Louise? There are 3 left.
No, thank you, Hubert. They're filthy.
Well, then I'll have one if you don't mind. What time does your plane leave, Sands?
7:30. It's now 5:45.
Then I'll meet you at the boat on Wednesday, Carl. Oh, dear, I do wish we didn't have to go to Australia.
New Zealand's lovely, they say.
Is it?
Yes, but unfortunately I haven't any agents in New Zealand.
Oh. I shall have to write and tell Mother about us. I'm afraid it will be dreadfully muddling for her.
Serve her jolly well right.
Why, Hubert, you've never been unchivalrous about Mother before.
Well, now that you're running off with Sands, the situation has changed. Without wishing to wound you, Louise, I should like to take this opportunity of saying that your mother lacks, charm to a remarkable degree.
Oh, Hubert.
This morning, you seem to have discussed everything except where you lived as a girl.
I do hope, Carl, you're not going to turn out to be testy.
Oh, we must go home, Hubert. Have you forgotten that the Fenwicks are coming to play golf at 9?
Oh, so they are, Clara. Well, Louise, I don't suppose we'll be seeing you and Mr. Sands again.
Well, you might come and see us off on the boat.
Oh, not on Wednesday. I promised to up country for a bit of shooting. Goodbye. Try to make my wife happy, won't you?
I'll do my best.
Thank you. Come along, Clara.
I wish my husband were alive.
Why?
Because he'd horsewhip you, and I should enjoy it immensely.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Coming, Clara.
I'm coming, Hubert.
Oh, dear. I feel as if I'd been run over.
Dearest.
Don't, Carl.
Don't what?
Don't call me dearest. Not for just a minute.
I love you so.
You know, you usually can see Sumatra from here on the balcony at this time in the morning.
I don't want to see Sumatra.
Carl, are you happy?
Wildly happy. Are you?
Dear Carl.
What's the matter, Louise?
You're pretending splendidly.
Oh, now, don't talk like that, my sweet. It's unkind.
Aileen would be proud of you.
That was worse than unkind.
Where is it? Our moment. What's happened to the magic?
Yes, I see. Dance with me a minute.
Very well.
No, it doesn't quite go over, does it? Of course, the music makes a great difference.
There isn't always music.
And moonlight.
Moonlight doesn't last. See? Over there where Sumatra should be. The sun's coming up.
There's music for us.
The wrong sort.
Kiss me.
My dear. You see?
The joke's on us.
It was a nice joke while it lasted.
Don't talk like that. It sounds so depressing.
What's the name of your agents in Sydney?
Eldridge, Lincoln, and Barrett.
Give them my love.
You mean it's over?
I mean it's morning.
We shouldn't have waited.
No, we shouldn't have waited. Goodbye, Carl.
Goodbye.
I shall always remember you.
Thank you.
Poor Hubert. He'll be so perplexed, but so happy.
Why, George, she was right. You can see Sumatra from here on a clear morning.
Thank you, Benny Barnes, Hedda Hopper, Adolph Monjou, and Robert Montgomery. That was really a splendid job. And now, ladies and gentlemen, while Benny and Bob get ready to spring a little surprise on you, I'd like to tell you why you meet all your favorite stars here in the Gulf Theater. It's simply this. The Gulf Theater is the stars' own theater. Because every single cent that Gulf would ordinarily give to the stars who appear here is given instead to meet the needs of the Motion Picture Relief Fund and to build a home for the members of the picture industry who can no longer provide for themselves. Every week here in the Gulf Theater, we give the stars a chance to do the things they don't get to do on the screen. Well, tonight we've really let ourselves in for it, for with very little encouragement, Benny Barnes is going to do an old coward song she used to do in the London music halls, and Bob Montgomery's going to make it a duet, or something.
Don't put your daughter on the stage, Mrs. Worthington.
Don't put your daughter on the stage.
The profession is overcrowded, and the struggle's pretty tough.
And admitting the fact she's burning to act, that isn't quite enough.
She has nice hands to give the wretched girl her due.
But don't you think her feet are too developed for her age?
I repeat, Mrs. Worthington.
Sweet Mrs. Worthington.
Don't put your daughter on the stage.
Regarding yours, dear Mrs. Worthington.
Of Wednesday, the 23rd.
Although your baby may be keen on a stage career.
Well, how can I make it clear?
That this is not a good idea.
For her to hope, dear Mrs. Worthington, is on the face of it very absurd.
Her personality is not, in reality, inviting enough, exciting enough for this particular sphere.
So don't put your daughter on the stage, Mrs. Worthington.
Don't put your daughter on the stage.
Though they said at the School of Acting she was lovely as Peer Gynt.
I'm afraid on the whole an ingenue role might emphasize her squint.
She's a big girl, and though her teeth are fairly good...
She's not the type I ever would be eager to engage.
No more bucks, Mrs. Worthington, not Mrs. Worthington. Don't put your daughter on the stage.
Thank you, Benny and Bob. And now, ladies and gentlemen, all our stars in front of the curtain ready to take part in our weekly feature, the Gulf Question Box. Remember, they must answer the questions correctly or pay any forfeit I name. Last week, for instance, Jimmy Cagney missed, and he had to imitate a baby crying for its milk. All right, let's go.
Well, fellas, I don't wish you any hard luck, but I do hope you miss on account of Rod sticks up some terrific forfeits.
Johnny Conte, you're a meanie.
Why, Benny, you cut me to the quick. I'm really a nice guy at heart. Little puppy dogs wag their tails when they see me. And what's more, if I were asking the questions, they'd really be a cinch.
I bet they would. What would you ask, for instance?
Well, I'd ask, Benny, what do you think of the new cars for 1940?
Oh, they're perfectly beautiful.
There, you see. Now, wasn't that easy? You didn't even have to think twice. Well, no one would have to think twice to answer that question because the 1940 automobiles are some of the finest cars that ever rolled off an assembly line. And, ladies and gentlemen, whether or not this is your year to buy a new car, you certainly want modern, up-to-the-minute performance from the family automobile. Now, that means that if your car is a 40, 39, 38, or if it was built within the last 5 years, you must use a modern gasoline. Now, maybe you've tried various gasolines and found that most of them are good. Well, they are. But when you try Gulf No Knox, we believe that you will notice a difference, an extra measure of satisfaction. You see, Gulf No Knox has been raised to such a high octane rating that it ends motor knocks under all normal driving conditions. As a result, your engine sounds quieter, the flow of power is smoother, almost as though you'd added a couple of extra cylinders. So won't you stop tomorrow at your good Gulf dealers and prove to yourself that Gulf No Knox is the knock-proof gasoline.
Thank you, John Conte. And now the first question goes to Miss Benny Barnes, star of the 20th Century Fox picture Daytime Wife. Ready, Benny?
All right, Roger, fire away.
Well, now your question is an easy one, Benny. Name 4 movie actors who always wear mustaches.
Oh, yes, that's easy. Errol Flynn. Ronald Coleman, sometimes.
Uh-huh.
And Errol Flynn.
Yes,
and,
Errol and Ronald Coleman.
Yes.
Well, that's one so far, Benny.
Douglas Fairbanks, Roger Pryor.
Well, that's pretty good, but you've forgotten too many, Benny. You forgot Don Amici, Warren Williams, Cesar Romero. That's too bad, Benny. Here's your forfeit. I want you to go up and take over the drums and beat out a hot chorus or something.
Oh, God.
Go ahead, Benny. Oscar, will you remove the gentleman from the percussion section so Benny can give out with a little jive? Are you all ready? Here we go. All right. Thank you, Benny Barnes. That was really some skin beating. And now the next question goes to Adolphe Mangiu. Incidentally, Adolphe has just completed work on the RKO picture, That's Right, You're Wrong. Adolphe, tell me, why is the Academy Award called Oscar?
You've got me there, Roger.
Well, Betty Davis nicknamed the Academy Award statuette Oscar, and it's been called that ever since. And now for your forfeit. Let me see. You must growl like the MGM lion.
Have you got a piece of raw meat?
Thank you, Adolphe Mangiu. And the next question goes to Hedda Hopper. By the way, Hedda, congratulations on that new radio series you're starting a week from Monday for Sunkist. Happy commentating. Now tell me, Hedda, while we're on the subject of Academy Awards, who won it the most times?
Oh, actress or actor?
Well, I didn't say that.
Oh, I know. Frank Capra.
Uh-huh.
It happened one night.
That's
Mr.
right.
Deeds Goes to Town.
Uh-huh.
You Can't Take It With You.
That's right. That's right, Hedda. Very, very good. Thank you very much. And Frank Capra's current picture is Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Incidentally, 2 of its stars, Jimmy Stewart and Edward Arnold, will appear here in the Gulf Theater next week opposite Loretta Young. Now, here's a question for Robert Montgomery. Bob, who was the last actress to win an Academy Award for a silent picture?
I know.
Oh.
I know, but I can't think.
Oh, you can't think,
No.
huh? You want to try? Well, I'm afraid
No,
we've got
sorry.
you, Bob. According to the Library of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, the last actress to win an award for a silent picture was Janet Gaynor for Seventh Heaven in the season of 1927 and 1928.
Yeah, that's
Incidentally, she was also the first winner, for that was the season the awards were started. And now let me see, Bob, for your forfeit, you must read this.
Oh. To be or... Oh, Shakespeare.
Uh-huh.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of trouble.
That's enough, Bob.
Well, what are you trying to do, find out if I can read?
No, I want you to repeat that now, as Jimmy Cagney would do it.
Well, now, let's see. To be or not to be, that is the question. What does... Whether it is noble in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles. You wouldn't understand it anyway.
Thank you, Robert Montgomery. So next week, Edward Arnold, Jimmy Stewart, Loretta Young, Oscar Bradley, and the Gulf Orchestra. In the meantime, this is Roger Pryor saying good night, everybody.
This is John Conte saying good night for your neighborhood good golf dealer.
The Gulf Screen Guild Theater originates in Earl Carroll's Columbia Square, Hollywood. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.